Okay, so the first thing we're going to go over is what is an ion. And the answer to that would be an ion is a charged atom with either a positive or negative charge, and that means that the protons no longer equal the electrons. So how do we write ionic formulas? So first you need to find the charge for each symbol, which is shown on the periodic table. Swap the charge numbers, drop the charge numbers, write the formula with the cation, which means the positive charged ion first, then the antion, which is the negative charged ion. Some examples is lithium and fluorine. Lithium has a positive 1 charge, and fluorine has a negative 1 charge. These two just cancel out, and you would just write down the symbols of lithium and fluoride. Moving on to the next example, you have aluminum and chlorine. So aluminum has a +3 charge, and chlorine has a -1 charge. You would swap the charges and drop them. So aluminum would have a 1 charge, but you don't need to show that. And chlorine has a 3 charge, so then you would drop that down. For magnesium and sulfur, they both have charges of 2, one being 2+, one being 2-. These two will cancel out. You just simplify to make it as simple as possible, and you would just write the symbols of magnesium and sulfur. Next question is, what are polyatomic ions? Polyatomic ions are ions composed of 2 or more atoms. Now for naming polyatomic ions, the most commonly appeared end in 8. So if we have PO4 3-, or PO4 3 with a charge of 3-, you would get phosphate, notice ending in 8. If there's one less oxygen in the equation, then you change the ending to "ite." So if you got PO3 instead of PO4, you would change it to phosphite. As far as writing the formulas, all you need is a polyatomic chart and the periodic table. So for these, they go in nicely. So it's pretty simple to figure out. Barium sulfite would just be BaSO4. For calcium sulfate, it would be CaSO4. Those are pretty easy. But for aluminum sulfate, we write it as Al2SO4. But because these composed ions right here, the group of them, had more of a charge than this, they took 3 of these to create an equal charge with the aluminum. So you'd put these in parentheses and write 3 on the outside. For a quick quiz, as a recap, the first question is, what is a polyatomic ion? The answer would be an ion composed of 2 or more atoms. Second question is, if PO4 with a charge of 3- is phosphate, how would the ending change to "ite"? So A would be to take away an oxygen, making it 1 less than the original, changing the ending to "ite." 3. What is the formula to arsenic? The answer would be AsO4 with a charge of +3.